I refused to take in my stepsister, even if it would help her.
You don't need to.
When I, now 29 female, was 14, it came out that my dad had been living a whole secret life behind his wife and my mom's back. One where he had a 1-year-old daughter who is now 16 with his employee.
What?
Practice family.
What?
Back then, it was a huge deal.
I feel like it's a huge deal now.
My brother, now 31, refused to speak to our dad for a whole year, and I couldn't look him in the eye ever since. Now, I don't know if our mom knew or if she just didn't care, but I remember her being very desperate to keep her husband. Perhaps it was because he was the breadwinner and made quite a lot. Who knows? But eventually, after many therapy sessions and counseling, they stayed together. By the way, this comes from user PatientWin8831. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. But that didn't mean his other family was brick-walled as you'd think would be appropriate. In fact, my dad stopped going out with the other woman, but they remained friends, and my mom and her had some sort of sister wives vibes going on. It was just weird. On every holiday, there'd be this woman who knowingly and willingly almost destroyed another family. Yes, she was aware our dad was married and didn't care. And this baby who me and my brother, were meant to treat like a sibling. We haven't felt like a family since. My brother refused to participate in holidays like Christmas or Easter for a few years. Then came around when Allie, my stepsister's fake name, was 4 years old and decided he'd be a brother to her. It was a very sudden switch, though he still doesn't speak to our father or Allie's mom. Maybe I'm jaded, but I never saw Allie's mom as anything but a homewrecker and a terrible person, and Allie as a result of that. I don't know if jaded's the right word for that.
Yeah.
I think you're probably traumatized. I think you need to really
probably. And how
get
old
clear.
is the brother when he come? How old was he when he came into the family? Or
I
came
don't
into
think
the
we had the
family?
number. It's
Okay.
He's now 31, so
Okay. To try and be a brother to a
probably late
young,
teens,
okay.
maybe early 20s,
All right.
somewhere in there. I know my dad is to blame as well, but back then it was easier to be angry at them than at my dad.
I feel like your dad is the
'Cause
most to blame.
You're also 14, you're a
Yeah.
child, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
I never saw Allie as a sister and made it clear. That resulted in some familial tension that continues to this day. It would be really hard to list everything that happened here, so I won't, and I'll get to the main issue at hand. Allie recently decided to change schools because of some issues I'm not interested in. For clarification, my country's high schools can have specific specializations like art, confectionery, hairdressing, and so on and so forth. These are just the first ones I could think of, but I'm just not sure how common it is. Allie used to study in grammar school, high school that has no specific field, but is usually a stepping stone between high school and college. But apparently grammar school was too demanding, and she decided to drop out and pursue art school. She's not an extraordinary artist for her age, but good enough to get accepted into a pretty good art school that happens to be near me. Allie and her mom live close to my parents, and my parents live a solid 3 hours away from me. So getting to and from school would be difficult for her, but not impossible. 2 days ago, we had a family dinner. Yes, Allie and her mom were invited, much to my dismay, where the issue was brought up. They talked around the topic, maybe expecting me to pipe up and open my doors for her, but I didn't. So they eventually asked flat out if I could let Allie live with me for the school year.
That's a big ask.
And it feels like they should know that you're already
You
not
don't.
like this.
You've never wanted a relationship with Allie, which is your own thing that you're dealing with. And
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not Allie's obviously not in fault because she's a child.
Yeah, regardless of where that comes from, this is not going to be a situation that's helpful to anybody
No,
given the current circumstances.
Oh my goodness, this 16-year-old is gonna live with a person who hates her?
Yeah,
No, we shouldn't
kinda
do
rough.
that.
Maybe the parents don't know how bad it is, Maybe
Yeah,
this
maybe
has just
he's
been
kind of
pent
kept
up
it-
and held inside the
kept
whole
it
time.
in.
14-year-olds are really good at
Yeah.
doing that.
And so maybe OP just says, "No, I hate her."
Yeah.
And then she goes, "No," and they go, "Why? I hate her."
So she'd be there from Monday to Friday and be at home for any holidays and such. I also work in art and am an illustrator, so they think it would be beneficial for Allie to spend time around real artists, which is hilarious because they previously called my profession useless. Here are my reasons for declining. There is an option of dorms just outside of campus. The living conditions are good. Not 5-star hotel, but good nonetheless. I don't like Allie and have made that clear. We have absolutely no relationship. Aside from her being blood related, there's nothing about her that would convince me to take her in. My brother lives closer to the art school, like an hour away. It's not right around the corner, but doable. Plus, he actually likes Allie. When I needed help and came to Allie's mom as a Hail Mary, she laughed me out the door and said that we're not family. So for her to insist we are, in fact, a family now is both irritating and funny. I have a pretty modest apartment. Yes, I have 2 rooms, but I'm renting out the other one for my best friend. They didn't ask me nicely. They demanded, and when I showed hesitation, they immediately descended upon me like a pack of vultures. Apparently, Allie doesn't want to live with a stranger in a dorm, something about anxiety, which, while I can sympathize, I also lived in dorms with 2 strangers that didn't even like me. She's my sister despite it all, and God wanted us to be a family. No, because I'm atheist. My brother's girlfriend is currently pregnant with a baby soon due, and he doesn't want to bring Allie into all of that. Plus, his girlfriend is nervous around strangers, which is the last thing she needs. I should displace my roommate in favor of family, and it should be a no-brainer to let my sister live with me. Again, she's not my sister. OP does not see her
OP
as
has never seen her
her
as her
sister.
sister.
I don't know her, and I never put in the effort to get to know her, nor do I want to. I don't want to know if I'm the a-hole for that. I guess I am, because it's not her fault. She came to the world like this. Anyway, I wanted to think about it for a bit and then turn them down to at least pretend to seriously consider it. But with how the evening devolved from calm and peaceful to yelling and demanding in a matter of seconds, I said no immediately and remained firm on my stance. Everything calmed down when Allie ran out of the house, back to her house, I assume. Then I was asked to leave, which I was already doing, and was told we'll discuss the matter when I'm ready to act like an adult, in which case I better sign up for kindergarten before they're all full. I made this all very clear, and when Allie's mom messaged me to discuss the topic, I left her on red, and when my dad called me, I didn't pick up, which is fair, because you've already made it very clear you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I won't put up with them yelling and demanding as if that would change my mind. Am I the a-hole? Not about...
Yeah, not about this.
Only about the thing that you admitted you were the a-hole about. Not,
I think you
not
already
this,
recognize
given the
it.
situation.
I think you recognize that, like, you have a lot of animosity and feelings that should be directed at your dad that you've redirected at this girl, which makes sense. I think a lot of people do that.
Of course,
but
because you were
it's-
also 14,
you were 14
when this happened.
Like, obviously,
You
that's
were
gonna happen.
traumatized.
Yeah.
It's not Allie's fault.
Yeah, which is something I think, like, therapy could help, working through those feelings. But at the end of the day, your question is, am I the a-hole for not letting her move into my house? And you are not the a-hole
No, you're
at
not.
all.
You're not.
0%.
It does kind of, it's, it just sucks. So am I the a-hole?
Let's finish
Like,
this off.
no. But I will tell you something that is a yes, and that's, can I listen to full episodes with stories just like this? Yeah.
Mhm.
On Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search the name of our show, OK Storytime. And I dare you to listen to them all. Let's finish this story. Super quick update. The thing I feared the most happened. Currently, Allie is in my room after appearing out of nowhere in front of my
Oh,
apartment
Lord.
with my friend, letting her in after she started having a mental breakdown in the hall. You are now living a Hallmark
man.
movie.
Oh,
I think
man.
it's now you have to lean into, like, I'm going to write a script out of this and sell it for $1 bajillion, and it's going to win an Oscar.
Oh, man. They can't just leave a 16-year-old. She's a minor.
I really, really didn't think this would happen. I mean, I thought about it, but more so in the humorous, like, what if kind of way. I think my father and Allie's mom divorced themselves from reality if they thought I would let this slide. I'll update later. And there's comments here. Comment number 1, not the a-hole. Disregarding everything else for a second, Allie's only 16. She's going to be 3 hours away from home and will potentially want to experiment with that freedom because teenager. But also because teenager, you will automatically be expected to act as the default parent substitute, ensuring she eats properly, keeps
Yeah.
up with her studies, monitoring who her friends are, waiting up at night when she's out doing who knows what.
That's what I said. I was right.
Meanwhile, because you are not her parent, she will laugh in your face if you try to assert any authority over her, which why would you? And you'll get the blame if she messes up. No, it's far too big of a responsibility, even if you wouldn't have to make big changes to your own life to accommodate the request. OP replies, once Allie left, Dad and his ex-side chick told me they've already told her she'll have to act super nice and respectful for me to agree to take her in. So I guess me saying no was a bit of a blow. She was apparently even saving up money so she can help with the bills, although I must say my dad likes to fluff up his statements so they sound better. So maybe he was lying. I don't know. Still, pretty effed up of them to act like I'll agree to this, to taking care of this kid. Comment 2, would you consider going low to no contact even just for a few months until the school year starts? I wouldn't be surprised if they just showed up and dumped Allie at your front door. I'd get a door camera and change the locks if they have any sets of keys, not the a-hole. OP says they don't have the keys, luckily, and I'll have to ask my landlord about door cameras. Thank you for the suggestion. I didn't even think about them breaking in. Comment 3 says, I would have said no from the get-go, and these family dinners with both partners give me the creeps. OP says, oh my God, you have no idea. Allie and Allie's mom aren't invited over every time, but when they are, we, meaning me and my brother, get either no warning or a warning 5 minutes before we get there. Maybe they're forgetful, but I also wouldn't put it above them to do this intentionally. They know I hate Allie's mom and feel very ambivalent about Allie herself, so I wouldn't attend if I knew beforehand. My parents' house has 2 extra bedrooms, and Allie's mom sometimes sleep there. It's so effing weird. They don't sleep there often, if my parents are to be believed, and it's so shocking. My mom went from a proud, headstrong woman to being a borderline side chick in plain sight under her own roof.
Ooh,
I don't even...
ouch.
It's kind of cathartic to let all this out. Only my friend who I live with sees my point. Others excuse it or outright call me the a-hole, not to mention how fine my brother seems with everything. One Sunday, I walked in and saw Allie's mom in a towel and brushing her teeth, and I just left. Yeah, I think you need help working through this, honestly.
And also, they clearly don't have any boundaries. The problem is that none of this is Allie's fault, but none of the other adults in your life have learned anything from this whole scenario.
Yeah.
They still all suck. And like, Allie's a child. It's not her fault. You had to deal with this at 14. Not your fault. But you're still dealing with that like anger and frustration from, your dad and your dad's affair partner and your mom. And it's all going on Allie.
Yeah, and like others, it's like it sounds like a little bit on your brother too. And like, why isn't my brother more upset? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to be,
Yeah. I skipped my brother's wedding because I wasn't invited to the engagement party.
Well, that's interesting.
I, 28 male, have a twin brother. Growing up, we were inseparable, and until recently, I thought we were still very close. I was always more of a shy nerd, and he was an extrovert that played sports throughout our childhood and high school. But we spent almost all of our time together by choice. By the way, this comes from the Juggernaut Slow 4213. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, we went our separate ways when college came. He stayed local in Arizona, and I went to college in Portland. When I graduated, I stayed there because I fell in love with the city. My friends are here, my professional networks from internships were here, etc. But I always flew back home for holidays, events, birthdays, etc. My brother announced on Instagram that he and his girlfriend of 3 years got engaged. I was incredibly happy for him and texted him congrats. He mentioned they were planning to have an engagement party in 6 to 8 weeks, and I told him to let me know so I can book a flight to come celebrate. I was never told a date. If I brought it up with him or anyone in my family, they'd change the subject or say it's still being planned and confirmed. After a few weeks, I texted my brother to ask about the date because it must be getting close and I don't want to pay for a last-minute flight. No response. I asked my mom for details and she said, it's not really an engagement party, just a small dinner with family. There's no need to come down for it. OP is family. That's her brother. I eventually found out that it was, in fact, a big party. They rented out an entire restaurant for 4 hours, and there were about 80 guests. Dang.
That's not tiny.
Dang.
And also, Riley had to pee.
Oh.
Tinkle man.
Family, friends, cousins, everyone.
To be fair, this is now makes a lot more sense why you would skip the wedding because you didn't go to the engagement party because they lied to you about it.
They lied.
Yeah.
Ah, boy. Everyone was told I couldn't make it. My aunt, who was like a second mother to me, texted me that she was very disappointed I couldn't make time to join, and I replied that I would have happily come, but I was not invited. Yeah. Word spread quickly about my snub, and my parents and brother tried to say it was just a misunderstanding. How? Because you asked about it. You said, "Hey, is there a party happening?" And they said, "No, no, 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 no. It's nothing. Don't come."
Do not come.
Yeah, that was
Do not
almost
come.
over a year ago. Since then, I've tried to get to the bottom of why I wasn't invited. Over the course of months, it went from, "It was just meant to be a small gathering," to, "I don't know what happened. There must have been a miscommunication," to, "It's just a party. It's no big deal." I asked my brother if he was mad at me. I thought maybe his fiance didn't like me. Even if she or he didn't want me there, why were my parents okay with this? This really wasn't like them. Christmas and Easter was as awkward as heck because no one but me wanted to address the elephant in the room, and any conversation about anything was like small talk with strangers.
Come on, man. Like, really? Like, you literally go out of your way to be like, don't even come down. It's just a small thing. You lied because you were like, I mean, I don't want to tell you that it's a big thing that you're the only one basically being excluded from. So I'm going to lie to you and say that it's not anything. So,
And Opie's like, "I just want to talk about it. I literally just want to talk
Yeah,
about it. If you were mad at me, just tell me."
I want to get to the bottom of this. Come on.
When I visited in May for my sister's birthday, I left early after my sister said, "You moved so far away. It's like you're not really family anymore." Huh?
That's crazy.
Huh?
I didn't know there was a physical distance attached to literal family ties.
"You make everything feel so weird now." 9 months ago, I got the save the date announcement, and 6 months ago, I got the invitation to the wedding. I wasn't asked to be in the wedding party, which is fine and wasn't surprising at the point. My sister and younger brother were asked to be in the wedding party, so another snub. I also didn't get a +1 for my girlfriend I've been seeing for almost a year and a half. My sister, however, got a +1 for her friends with benefits. Well, so I decided I wasn't welcome, and I was probably only invited for optics and to play Happy Family. I didn't RSVP, no, since I knew that would cause a crap show. I just didn't go. The wedding was this past weekend. No one contacted me about missing the rehearsal dinner, so I guess even if I did go, I wasn't invited to that either or expected to be there. I started getting calls and texts about an hour before the ceremony asking where I was, if my flight was delayed, how far along I will be, etc. And I ignored them. They stopped for a while during the ceremony but started up again right after. I finally picked up my mom's call and she screamed, "Where the heck are you?" In reply, I said, "In Portland, where you all prefer me to be." She said, "This is your brother's wedding. How could you embarrass us?" I answered, "Just a party. It's no big deal, right?"
Yeah, I mean, soak it up.
It was
Soak it up.
probably the first time in my life my mother was speechless. A few seconds of silence. I said, "Tell everyone I said hi," and I hung up. Now I'm getting calls and texts from everyone saying I was being petty and ruined the day. So am I the a-hole here? I feel like I'm just matching their energy and dropping the rope. Consensus, not the a-hole. So much so that I had to dig for the "you're the a-hole" comments, which mostly consisted of the fact that it's poor form to not RSVP or that OP must have excluded some vital information to make themselves look innocent. And we've got some more comments by OP, but do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the engagement party being like lied about is fun. I just want to know
It's just all
whose
the
idea,
lies.
whose point is this?
Yeah.
Is it like your brother's fiance who doesn't like you? Is it your brother? Why can't anyone just like tell you what was up? Is there something?
It seems like they really don't care about you being at any of these things. They just don't like when people call them out for you not being there.
It's like, how far away is Portland from where they are
It's a flight away.
for the engagement dinner? It's like, I can
But to
see
not
being like,
be invited and then to say it's going to be a small thing.
true, but it's like
OP
that
isn't.
can also come from like, we don't want to make you feel like you have to buy a plane ticket to go to dinner. And also, we don't want to make you feel like you're missing out. So I'm going to tell you it's small. Because there's literally no communication going on here, there is no way to know what the intent was. And until I knew that intent, I probably wouldn't have gone out of my way to like, because I know you're like, I didn't want to RSVP no because it'd be a crap show, but you knew you weren't going to show up and you knew it would be a crap show regardless. So I think I would have dug way harder. I would not have let them get away with, "No, what are you talking about?" I'd be like, just let me, what's going on? And if they told me like, "We just didn't want you to feel like you had to be there because it's like, we didn't want to feel like we were forcing you," then that's that. I don't know. it's hard. Why would they be so malicious? That's what I would. That's what I need to know.
Yeah, and that's I think what OP is wondering. Some of the comments by OP. I really do feel like they've been icing me out for at least the past year. Probably started long before that, but I just didn't realize it. Honestly, I was gonna suggest family therapy, but I'm not sure that'll even work or if I want anything out of that. Thinking about the last few years, it feels like any contact was always initiated by me. The flights aren't very long, 2.5 hours, and between holidays and birthdays and other celebrations, I'm back in Phoenix almost every month. So it's Portland to Phoenix.
Okay, that's not
not
that
long.
far.
That's not far enough to be
West
like,
Coast.
that's not far
Yeah.
enough to be like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. It's not like I moved to another country and they haven't seen me in years. If anyone was just like, hey, it feels like we've lost touch, so just a heads up, you may not be as involved as others, would have been fine. You were only reinvited to the wedding so you could sit there like a prop while everyone clinked glasses and said, look at our perfect family, says one user. And OP says, one of my cousins who's on my side actually told me that I wasn't even placed at the family table because there wasn't any room to fit me in there. So even if I went, I would have been some random guest. My extended family on both sides are no more than a 30-minute drive away from each other. I was expected to come back home after I graduated, and the guilt trips when I told everyone I was staying where I established myself almost made me change my mind and move back. I always thought we stayed close. He'd visit me about every year for a week since I graduated. We may not have chatted or texted every day, but we kept each other abreast of what's going on in our lives. We may not text for 2 to 3 weeks, but when we did, there'd be an hour of texting back and forth and inside jokes. I'd travel back home about 10 times a year, so I met his now wife, and I thought we got along too. No change in politics as far as I can tell, no MAGAization or anything like that. My dad is a lifelong Republican, my mom a Democrat, and my siblings and I are all still pretty liberal. No real change there, and no shifts noted from any posts on social media. My brother has visited about 5 times. My sister lived with me one summer for an internship here. My cousin, who is totally on my side, lived with me and 2 of my friends in a 4-bedroom, of course. For 2 years after she transferred to the college I went to and finished her degree here. My parents visited twice during college, and my little brother has no interest. He went to a party school, but sees get degrees. From what I know, he likes his job and makes a decent wage. I make a surprisingly good wage, which allows me to visit home regularly. Or allowed me to visit home often, but I doubt I'll be traveling there anytime in the near future.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't bully him. He would have whooped my butt. No change in politics from what I could see. Literally everyone in my family, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, live a 30-minute drive from each other. I'm the only one that's moved away. But I visit almost on a monthly basis to keep connected. I probably make the most of all my siblings, so I've gifted money in the past. Mostly because I know it's a waste to loan to family. I feel like I give 110% to receive 70% back.
You're in an unwinnable situation. I'm starting to see it now.
Yep.
It's like you go to Portland and you come visit and you bring your big Portland money and they're like, oh, big Portland man thinks he's so much better than us with his Portland money.
Wouldn't stay
then
in
if you-
Arizona.
If you didn't do that and you just stayed in Portland, they'd be like, oh, big Portland boy is too good to go see his family with his Portland vibes.
Doesn't share his Portland money.
Just stay in Portland, Richie Rich.
My last visit was in May for my sister's birthday. I will not be visiting until after a few weeks after my cousin, whom I'm still close to, gives birth in January. And even then, it'll probably just be to see her only. About OP's partner, honestly, my family loves her, or at least they say they do. She came with me for Christmas, and my mother pulled me aside and said I finally found someone who can put up with me and she can stop worrying about my future now.
Okay, that's a weird way to put that, I guess, but it could be cute if you're being cheeky.
My girlfriend was cool with there being no +1 and said it's getting more common to only give +1s to engaged or married couples since the bride and groom don't want some rando they never see again in their photos if the relationship doesn't work out. Like the friends with benefit?
Yeah.
Engagement and marriages sometimes don't work out either. But then she found out my sister got a +1 for her F-boy. And there is an update, folks. I have
Crazy.
no idea. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he moved away and they hate him for that.
Moved away, makes a lot of money,
Yeah.
hates him for it.
Yeah, but there is an update 1 week later. Thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. I can't believe how many replies it got, and I'm trying to keep up, but couldn't. I also thought it'd be 50-50, not the a-hole and you're the a-hole, because I know what I did was a bit petty. To the people who said, you're the a-hole, I understand your reasons. Yes, it was cowardly to not RSVP to avoid drama. But looking back, I was in a headspace where I just caved to the guilt if I RSVP'd that I wasn't planning to attend. Also, a little part of me was hoping they'd realize I didn't RSVP and they'd tell me they want me to come. But every day that passed between the RSVP date and the wedding, I got angrier and more hurt, and I wanted to make it clear in a big way that if they don't want me around, I don't have to be around. And I get that's an a-hole move. I had a long phone call with my aunt and cousin last night about the wedding drama. They have given me some more info, and our suspicions are a bit of conjecture based on what we know and what we've heard. But here it goes. We really do think my mother felt I rejected them when I didn't move back after graduating. This is despite always coming home for my brother and sister's graduation, all birthdays, mine and immediate families, holidays, special events, etc. I practically visit on a monthly basis. But despite this, we think that she has some weird vendetta against me for splitting up her family and being an example to my siblings that they don't have to stay local.
They don't, though. You don't.
Even worse, somehow visiting so often made my mother resentful because my aunt mentioned that my mother once told her a few years ago that I was flaunting my wealth by showing I could visit so often.
You see,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
She said.
Yep.
Thanks to my senior year internship, I went immediately into a field where progression can be quick, and thanks to going back for a very specialized master's degree, I am in a very niche space within that field and was able to move up faster. I'm not bragging, it was just luck, connections, and a great mentor early on. People suggested my brother might be jealous. He does earn less, but as far as I know, he loves his job. It just doesn't have the same career progression. Honestly, his job is much more exciting than mine, and I'm sure it fulfills him a lot. My job isn't terrible, it's just not one anyone wants to hear work stories about at a dinner party, lol. I was also flaunting my money by gifting family money when they needed it. My grandfather often said, never loan family money. Give it freely if you want to, but you'll destroy relationships when you start asking for repayment. I think that's actually very smart. That's a very smart thing to say.
Money will definitely, money is a way that money will blow anything up, dude.
Yeah, I think loans are very tricky.
Yeah.
Not a week of Judge Judy reruns goes by without proving that true. So when I could, I gifted my family money when they needed it. Money for car repairs, money to help with my parents' mortgage, when my dad was out of work during the vid, money when my brother ran out halfway through his kitchen renovations, and until last night, my parents' internet and Disney Plus bills, but I've now canceled the monthly auto payments. Again, this was me flaunting my success, but they never stopped asking either.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is it's like,
Okay, so yeah, this is why they're saying.
So it
'Cause
was
of the money.
literally you're in this unwinnable position where it's no matter what you do, you're either flaunting your wealth or you feel like you're too good to even help them.
Yeah.
So this is a them problem, not a you problem.
Nope. My aunt and cousin also said they've heard lots of passive-aggressive comments about me over the years. First from my mother during the first few years after I decided to stay in Portland, and then eventually from my siblings. We're pretty sure my mother slowly poisoned them against me for not moving back home and showing what happens if they ever tried to move away. Someone said this about my mother meeting my girlfriend in my previous post. To be honest, given the context of everything else that's happened, what your mother said here about finally finding someone who can put up with ya sounds less like a tongue-in-cheek joke and more like a not-so-subtle barb.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a weird way to put that.
Yep. I see it now. I laughed it off as just my mom's humor, but I now also see that these passive-aggressive comments to my siblings over years, was subtle manipulation to turn them against me and for me to learn to accept it. A lot of people suggested this treatment was to get me to move back home and to punish me for leaving. But I'm not going to come home to embrace treatment like this and hope it goes away now that they got their way, especially when it's been too ingrained in them by now. It also explains why for the past few years, almost every conversation is initiated by me. They simply don't like me anymore and don't need me until they need or want something. My cousin also learned from another cousin that my brother shot himself in the foot when he mentioned the engagement party. I wasn't supposed to know at all. The plan was to tell everyone I couldn't make it and hope I'd never find out. My Brother told that cousin that I wasn't supposed to find out about it, but after he let it slip, I wouldn't shut up about asking to come. Based on how they've been talking about me for a couple of years, lots of extended family thinks I'm some annoying loser who makes my too often visits miserable for my family, and I can't get the hint to F off. So I'm finally effing off. I'm sorry. Anybody in your family who's hearing this of like, oh, he's some annoying loser who comes, he's crazy. You are family. I don't care if you were annoying. You're family. You can't get the hint to F off. You're family. Unless they have definitive proof that you're stealing money or awful person. If I heard that, I'd be like, you want your brother to F off?
Like, he won't take the hint. It's like, well, because you're too scared to tell me to F off because you're taking my money.
This is not a guy who's like, will you go out with me? Will you go out with me? No, this is your brother. My aunt and mother never really got along. My aunt is my mother's brother's wife. Okay. But my aunt said she knew all of this had my mom's name all over it, and that years of digs, passive-aggressive comments, and full-on aggressive comments have all come to this. She said they're not the same people. I told them that I don't think there's any coming back from this. My aunt and cousin both mentioned that they never heard my dad say anything bad, so my aunt is going to have my uncle talk to my dad man to man to see if he can find out what the heck is going on. By the way, if you want to find out what the heck is going on, listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Yeah, you already know what the heck's up.
There is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts, boys?
Yeah, lose their number. Lose your mom's number, probably.
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. That's just
don't give them any more money.
Gut check is that it started there. It started from one of your parents, and then it seeped into everything else.
I think
whoever told you that the engagement party was happening, don't lose their number.
No, the brothers let it slip.
Well,
the brother let it slip.
So it's like even your brother,
I think he was the twin.
Right, but it's like I feel like if you step back, and you just pull back, and then the mom probably goes crazy about it because now she can't. I don't know. There's nothing left for her to manipulate. So she's just going to go ballistic probably. Yeah. And I feel like your siblings might be like, maybe we were wrong to believe everything she said about our brother. Even though we do, we're human. You can feel jealous. You can feel insecure about like somebody like a brother or a close friend being more successful than you. But like, especially if you have like another thing like pushing you behind you to like be like, yeah, and it's worse than you think. And it's worse than you think. Like,
I think you just need to figure out who reaches out to you.
Yeah, definitely do a season of no contact and no financial aid to your whole family.
And see who comes over and says like, hey, what happened?
Exactly.
Why? And you see who comes over and says, hey, what happened? Are you okay? And who says, hey, we want money.
Right. And yeah.
But there's a little bit more. I thanked my aunt and cousin and reminded them they are pretty much the only family I have left, and I don't plan on losing touch with them. My aunt even mentioned that they haven't gone camping in years and asked if there are any nice places around Portland. It's too far to drive to go camping, but it means they may visit sometime. They also said they're going to try to correct info about me with extended family members, but I told them not to bother. They've already chosen to believe it. But for now, my immediate family are cut off. I blocked them on my phone and social media. No more free handouts when they need money. No more wasting money to go to Phoenix, effing Arizona 10 times a year just to be roasted by the sun and family members.
That's yes. Phoenix is
hot.
Phoenix.
Hot. No more the old 1-2 bag. Thank you all for your support and helping me realize my family really is crappy. Comment 1, this makes me sadder than a lot of the more dramatic, angst-inducing posts I find on the sub. It really does. Reply, especially because you feel in the first post that Opie thought he was close to his family, but then they pulled this crap. Comment 2, Opie's going to get all those money requests in a few months, asking for more handouts. Doubt he would update, but man, would I love to know the crap storm of, woe is me, I need money, when that comes through. I don't get mom, though. Shouldn't she be proud that her kid did so well professionally and financially? And the fact that none of his siblings can see through the BS says a lot too. Comment 3, although the uncle will presumably speak to the OP's dad, it's hard to see much movement from that. You have failed as a father, you have failed as a human being, and your wife is an absolute disgrace isn't an easy message to stick the landing on. And even if it does land, what is the dad gonna do? Grovel? Divorce? Deprogram his other kids? It's broken, and the dad will, at best, despise himself for his chronic failings. Common 4 says, I may be wrong, but I'm picking up some ex-Mormon coded language and family dynamics here. That's a really good point.
Could be.
Yeah, is there, well, I just think even if it's not ex-Mormon, is there a religious element of like leaving the faith, you know?
Yeah, just another reason was like Mr. Big Shot thinks he's so much better than the Latter-day Saints.
Arizona has a decently high concentration of the faith, and if OP moved away to a liberal city and left the church the rest of the family belonged to, in this case, potentially including all extended family too, because of Mormonism, that would really make being iced out from his family make more sense. Mormons believe in prosperity gospel, and when someone is able to be happy and successful after abandoning the faith, they have to tear that person down to legitimize their own life choices. I have unfortunately experienced the same thing and know many, many other former members of cults have had similar experiences. And folks, that is the end of that story.